This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with Behind
the Glove.
MTK Global, sorry.
Could you imagine, in association, could you imagine if we teamed up?
Could you imagine if you could kind of combine two channels together to make one like super channel?
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Who would I go with?
What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying who would I collab with?
What do you mean who, you freaking knob?
You knob. A bit of a random interview here today. Literally have no idea what we're going to talk about, but it will obviously consist of a huge heavyweight fight week.
Are you nervous?
Do you know what? Yeah, because this fight has so many implications for the heavyweight scene, and a lot of potential fights can't really be talked about or made until the result of this one is conclusive. And last time it wasn't. And what's the odds on another draw here in Vegas?
It would never happen. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. They would have to make a decision. They would. It would never happen. You would never get two draws like back to back. Look at Canelo and Triple G. Another close fight they had, right? How did you have the rematch?
I thought the rematch was correct, in my opinion.
Did you? Okay, I actually had Golovkin winning. But if it went to a draw, I said, again, I was like, well, I wouldn't be mad at a draw this time around. The first time I was pissed at a draw because I don't think it deserved that. But the second time around, I actually thought a draw would have been fair.
What do you think needs to happen?
Can I say something?
Yes, you can.
I feel it's strange that you're sitting across from me like this and I'm the only one on camera. Could we not just sit next to each other and have a conversation?
It's not really about me, Michelle. It's more about the subject.
Yeah,
I know, like, you like to parade yourself in front of the camera and poke your lips out, get some cleavage out and like, hi, I'm Phelps. I know you, no, that's your style, but
That's my style?
That's your style, yeah.
Did you just say parade yourself around and puff your lips out? Is that
Like, you know, pouting, you know, like that.
You're the powder, it's not me.
Apparently so. We'll come back onto this anyway, but this is all right. This is cool. This is good for me. I'm comfortable.
Closer then, because I feel like you're doing too much of this. Come
I
on.
can't come close to you because then, hold on, wait there.
There you go.
There we go.
I just felt like you were a little too oddly far.
Oddly far. What needs to happen for there to warrant a third fight? What do you think needs to happen? Because if Wilder, say, or Fury were to conclusively knock the other person out, do we then want to see a third fight? What needs to happen?
Well, it needs to be another close fight. Because if not, it ends up another Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz situation, isn't it? No one wants to see a third fight for that. Do you? I don't. No disrespect, but it wasn't an exciting fight. It was exciting in the aspect that we got to see what happened. The storyline was, but the fight itself wasn't. So we wouldn't want that for this one either. You know, when someone wins very clearly and convincingly, what's the point of having another fight?
Yeah, I agree with that because I do not want to see, yeah, you're right, we'll compare it to Joshua Ruiz. There's no reason for me to have or want to watch a third fight. If the second fight was closer, we might think, well, hang on, let's watch this again. And it wasn't a case of like Canelo Golovkin, because I would watch Canelo Golovkin again. But certain fights, yeah, I think it's kind of done. That story of Ruiz and Joshua is done.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think there's too many options right now for Joshua for us to go ahead and circle back around. I think Andy Ruiz is obviously going to have to fight other people, earn his way back up the rankings to get another title shot. It's like Canelo Golovkin, right? There's talks of September of this year of potential third fight. I'd like to see that one. Do you want to know why? Because again, back to what we were saying, the second fight was another close fight. Anytime you have a good war and a close fight, anyone would love to see that. So that's a trilogy I would like to see.
To be honest with you, if someone was to chuck Dylan White and Derek Chisora at me for a third fight, I'd say, yeah, I'd watch that again because the first two fights were brilliant. Yeah. And all right, obviously, Dylan White won both fights, but first one was a little bit controversial in some people's eyes, but the second one wasn't. But I would definitely watch that fight again. They were two brilliant fights.
Especially because enough time has passed, too, that you both see each of them kind of, develop even more. You look at Derek, at one point he looked like he was going to retire, and now he's sort of reformed, isn't he? And Dillian just continues to get better and better. I feel bad for Dillian. I do. I feel bad for him.
I saw Mr. Suleiman earlier on. Every time I see Mr. Suleiman, I see Dylan White, his shadow behind him, saying, "What about me? What about me?" I can just see it, and I can, and I do. And listen, it's a difficult situation for Maurizio as well, because he's kind of got to follow certain protocol regarding mandatories, etc. But when it's not explained to us exactly why Dylan White has to wait till 2021 to get his shot, and
could you explain that one to me? Because I'm really confused by that. It went from, waiting 2 years, basically, to waiting another, what feels like a year and a half. I don't get it. Do you know? I still don't really understand it. I need to speak with him. Because honest to God, I can't understand it.
Yeah, no, I don't fully understand it, I suppose.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Is that because we already have this fight lined up?
Yeah.
That's basically it. But why go to the following year? There could be another one at the end of this year. Can there not?
Yeah, I think that obviously the potential of a third fight between Wilder and Fury has obviously implications. Why? Yep. I get that side of it, but you can't help but feel a little bit sorry for Dylan White over the situation. He literally has been sitting, waiting for his shot for 48 years.
But do you reckon that this fight is actually is it a mandatory must immediate rematch or trilogy? Do you know if it is? Because I don't think that it is. Just like this one wasn't. The rematch wasn't immediate. So if there's that in between, then why not defend the title in between?
Interesting to hear what Joshua and Eddie Hearn said about, depending on what happens in this fight, they could potentially throw out an offer. And we know he's got two mandatories with Pulev and Usyk, but money talks. And I suppose if something they thought, well, you know what, let's put them an offer, let's get that Saudi money in, right, and see what happens, because ultimately sometimes an offer is on the table, and when you're talking about the money that comes from Saudi, especially I'm using Saudi as people would be like, no, we want it at Wembley. Of course, I want it at Wembley. I want it
to be at Wembley too.
Absolutely, but I think money does talk, and they seem to have an endless pool of money to be able to kind of tempt fighters of this caliber at the top of their game to come over there.
Let's keep it real right now, okay? The fight with AJ Ruiz. Was it not strange to see how absolutely quiet the audience was, watching that fight? Was it not a bit weird?
It was weird, but then when you kind of look at
no alcohol.
Yeah, that's the simple. It's
no alcohol.
yeah. Well, it's one of the main factors why we've been to Saudi before. Did you go to the World Boxing Series? Were you at that one?
No.
But that was kind of the same. There was no alcohol there, so alcohol plays a part in audiences at home, crowds at home. It does, and it adds to the atmosphere, etc., etc. All in good jest. Obviously, we don't want anyone consuming too much alcohol and embarrassing themselves, like you on a Friday night in Dre's.
Dre's.
Joke. But it did, and I think that has a factor and also it's not like Saudi Arabia has been showing shows of this magnitude for years. It's all kind of new to them. They've showed the World Boxing Series. Amir Khan fought there, now Joshua Ruiz, I suppose. Yeah, that as well.
I'm not mad at it. One of the things that I absolutely loved about coming over from the States to the UK was the ambience, was the crowd, was how passionate the fight fans are in the UK. And it's just I just feel like for a fight like that, to feel that atmosphere, would just give you chills, wouldn't it? It would just be absolutely unforgettable.
But I'll be honest with you, the whole Saudi thing I didn't mind it. I liked my time there. I hear what you're saying about the crowd, but I think the whole thing in general, Yeah, I mean,
No,
not,
I get it.
yeah.
I get it from a business perspective. But at the same time, I also see it from a fan perspective. The fans ultimately are the ones that support the sport.
100% agree. And I put a thing out about something on Twitter. I don't tweet as much anymore, but I did tweet something about this whole thing about boxers kind of earning their maximum potential, and it's a short-lived sport, etc., etc. And but I did point out that, of course, I'm from the UK. Of course, I want to see that fight at Wembley, and I would be disappointed if it ended up, not just Saudi, but if it landed anywhere else apart from the UK. We're talking about Joshua and Fury. That's like a fight that, for me, belongs in the UK. But ultimately, if they're offered X amount of money to fight at Wembley, or X amount of money, which seems to be a considerable amount of money more to fight in Saudi, what do you do?
But do you feel like that just will start a trend where AJ will no longer have the mega fights in the UK anymore, and they'll always be over in Saudi if it's always about money?
Yeah.
Again, I'm speaking ignorantly because it's not me and that's not my bank account. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But just like I was saying to Eddie, and he cut me off before I can even ask the question or say what I was going to say, because he already knew what I was going to say. It was like, at what point is enough money before you start thinking about other things, like the legacy, or giving the fans what they deserve also, because they're the ones who supported these people's careers from the start.
All right, so we can't answer that because we're not. Well, I'm assuming you're not some billionaire that just does this for a hobby. I'm not. So, I don't know, just put yourself in their position. If you've got 100 million in the bank, do you need another 100 million? Well, all right. I don't know. I don't know. Do you need another 100 million? I'd like to think, two is better than one,
We
but...
need to find someone who has $100 million in the bank, and I need to ask him that question. Do we know anyone?
What, in the media rooms?
No, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm just, we have conversations. Everyone has conversations away from cameras. We all think just like the fans think. And we hate politics. We hate all the bullshit that comes along with some of the decisions that are made in the sport. Just keeping it real. But it is what it is, isn't it? We'll show up wherever we need to show up.
Absolutely. Wherever the fight is, we'll be there. But I'm just saying, if Joshua is to fight Fury specifically, and it didn't happen in the UK, there would be some kind of,
Here's a question for you. If they were to fight in England, do you think the crowd would be heavier for Tyson or heavier for AJ?
I have no idea. I couldn't even...
But that's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know.
Like, we'll never know what that feels like, because we won't experience it when it does happen. Whatever. I'm not here to piss anyone off.
Wembley.
I mean, but obviously I would like to see it in Wembley also.
Blah, blah, but...
I see it from both sides. I see it from the fighter's perspective because they're putting their lives on the line. If anything were to happen to them, is their family set up for life? Are they able to move forward? Can they continue to have the life they have now if something were to happen to them? Completely understood. And on the flip side to that, it's like what we do. We wouldn't be where we're at. We wouldn't even be traveling or making the money we make if they didn't watch. So it's the same goes for the fans. Like sometimes there has to be give and take. It can't just always be, well, they just want to make more money. Then again, speaking ignorantly because it's not my bank. But I'm seeing it from a fan's perspective.
You have to look at it from both sides, and from the fans' perspective is that, like I said, when it's fighters that have fought the majority of their fights in the UK, when it comes to like the pinnacle fight, and Joshua Fury is the biggest fight we'll ever see of our generation up until now. Listen, in 10 years' time, I don't know.
Do you not think it would be Joshua Wilder?
In the UK,
Okay.
I'm talking about just in the UK, Joshua Fury, definitely. But from a worldwide perspective, I mean, that's subjective. But if that fight didn't happen, there would be a sense of the fans have been robbed, because like there's people that have been going to support Joshua and Fury all the way through their careers, and it comes to the fact of they might not be able to afford to go to Vegas or Saudi Arabia or wherever, and because the majority of people can't. That's why tickets are priced at what they are. to make things affordable for people. But you take all that, it's not cheap. It ain't cheap for us to travel.
Even cheap for us
No,
to
exactly.
even attend. Like, we don't get everything covered. Like, this is still a bill, a tab. Like, just between me and my cameraman, just for a couple of chicken strips and fries and 2 drinks, I spent $50. I'm like, Jesus, not even dinner yet. Yeah, the little chicken spot.
We won't name and shame you, by the way.
Yeah, in the food court. I mean, for crying out loud, it's not. It made me feel sick after that. $50.
Here's a good actual discussion. So, which I've spoken to Eddie Hearn about a couple of months ago, about privileges, access.
Oh, this is a great topic.
This is a great topic.
Because people, they really don't understand. There's a lot of assumption that goes on. And I actually, I get a bit defensive at times because I'm like, wait a minute. You guys think we just hop on a plane where the ticket was free, the hotel was free, the food's free? I mean, the amount of money that we have to make on these trips to even make a profit from the trip is pretty freaking high up. You know what I mean? So there's a lot more to it. But of course, when people aren't in or around something, all they can do is assume. So, but we gotta wait in lines and email publicists and stalk people outside the damn doors and wait for them to come out for 2 hours just to try to get a clip. I mean, it's a hustle. It's a real hustle.
It is a hustle, but it's a good hustle because if we didn't want to do this, then we can go and stack shelves or, I don't know, be a chauffeur or...
What were you doing before this? I'll tell you what I was doing. There's a fun fact. I don't think anybody knows what I was doing before this, but...
Girl collection.
What did you seriously do before this?
You were going to answer you first, go on.
Well, I asked you the question, though.
Okay, so I was a struggling actor. Mm-hmm. That's what I was doing.
Is that how you met Helder?
Yes, that's how. Funnily enough, yes, I've spoken about this before. Me and James met on a film set, and that was kind of the start of IFL.
How did that conversation come about? How did both of you just decide, let's start a boxing YouTube?
It was like this. James, do you like boxing? Yeah, cool. Do you like boxing? Why don't we start a fucking channel, mate? It weren't like that because it had nothing to do with boxing. It started off in reality TV, was kind of the start of reality TV 10 years ago. British low-budget films, music scene, like the UK music scene. It was all that stuff for the first year. And then, I think the first show I went to was a Matchroom show, a prize fighter show, and then I went to a Frank Warren show, and then...
When did you first meet Eddie Hearn? What was that like?
I knew who Eddie was, but I'd never obviously met him, and I met him in Liverpool, a prize fighter. Rocky Fielding won that prize fighter, and I don't really remember my opinion about him. Probably just cheap suits. Do you know what I mean?
At the time, cheap
suits? At the time, cheap suits.
Salesman suits?
Rented car, do you know what I mean? Receding hairline. I just thought, this is Eddie Hearn.
He doesn't have a receding hairline now. What are you saying?
I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know for definite he's had that done, but maybe he has had that.
He has looked younger over the years, hasn't he, Edward? Getting some Botox, some fillers, secretly.
Yeah, secretly. So that was in 2011, I believe. Mm-hmm. So a year after we started. So and here we are today. But to be honest, what I actually was getting at with this whole thing before I started was that I was recently attacked online. Say attacked. I was criticised in an article online about access and kind of privileges and relationships that we've spent. You know about this as well. You spend years building, and there's not really a price on that. But then I have to apologise about certain access or certain interviews I might get because of relationships that I've built over the last 10 years.
Do you know what I have to say that? Is people can seriously mug off. because at the end of the day,
Sorry, can we just go back to your
mug off.
mug off? That's not a term. You just tell them to fuck off.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Mug off.
Okay.
That's a way of saying it. You mug off. You mug off.
All right, we get your point. Go on. No, carry on. This is interesting. Go on.
Okay. No, seriously, I actually had a conversation with a few people about this in the media, and I said, I will not apologize for the relationships that I have developed over the years because they took years to develop. It is not anyone else's position to sit back and say, well, why did they get that access when don't even know them? It's like if you were hiring at a job and you knew your friend was qualified, would you go with the guy who just handed you a CV, or would you go with your friend who was qualified? More than likely, you're going to hire your friend or your family. That's just the way it works. And the same goes with trust. In this field, people call us, turn to us, tell us stuff, and we're not even reporting it. Because the reality is they can trust us, but at the same time, they know that we can give them a quality interview. You get what I mean? The trust and the relationship goes hand in hand, and that's why some people may choose to call other people for interviews or have other people in camps over others because of trust. It's not anything to be offended over. It's just a relationship built. You and me, we have a strong relationship, do we not? If anyone ever said you said anything bad about me, I would never believe it, not even in a heartbeat.
I would never slag you off like to your face.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff.
Yeah, it's all true. No, I think we're kind of, if we've never actually, in like 9-10 years, we've never actually had any issues. If we had, it's like you do what any normal person does. You pick the phone up and say, blah, 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 and it's sorted out there. And then if that's happened, and I don't remember a time that has happened, but if it has, then that's the sensible thing to do. We don't need to bitch to other media members and other YouTubers like, oh, guess what they done, and look at her, and look at him, and fuck him, fuck her.
I've said this before. I'm like, the relationship that you've built over the years, and I'm going to use Eddie as an example, you have built that relationship with him. Since even when I started coming over to England, you have had this strong, relationship with Eddie. Okay, fair enough. I will not apologize for the people who decide to actually allow me into camp. Or, like people are like, oh, Tyson shows you favoritism. Yeah, he does. And he does with you too. And he's very clear about that. Like, I was standing, it was at the press conference in LA, and there was a huge huddle of people, and they weren't doing one-on-ones. And he's like, oi, come here. He pulls me up. I'm like, excuse me, can you move? Walking up. And it was really awkward because they weren't doing one-on-ones. And he goes, his publicist, Mel, goes, Tyson, do you want to do the interview with her after, or do you want to do it before? And he goes, we'll do it after, we'll give you more time. He goes, no, wait a minute. And he says it in front of everybody. He goes, I'd rather give you the fucking good sound bites and give these fucking people sound bites. I was like, and I literally am looking over and I'm like, I'm so sorry. But at the same time, I'm not going to apologize for that.
Why should you apologize for that?
But people make you feel like, oh, it shouldn't be that way. It should be fair across the board. You can't put a price tag on friendships. You can't. Or trust. You just can't. And the reality is, there are other people that I see. They go into camp with other people. I don't bitch about it. I don't care. Build your relationships. Put as much time and years as we've put into this game, and then tell me that you deserve to have the amount of time we get with people.
Because people kind of probably just assume, and don't take this disrespectfully, but people probably think Phelps does herself up, shows a bit of tit, and she gets her interview. But that's what people think. Yeah.
So the last interview I went to go do with Tyson, I very deliberately decided to wear a sweatshirt, a hoodie, because I didn't want to give anybody reason to talk, okay? So then as we're leaving, I asked Mel, I go, could you get a picture of me and Tyson? Because I always get a picture, and I put it up, say, hey, interview's coming, right? Because I can't throw up the interview right away because they're usually long interviews. It takes some time. But at least let them know it's coming. You see how I pose, yeah? I literally put my leg over like this. I was ripped to shreds because I had a camel toe. I literally went as far as to covering everything up so that wasn't an issue. But suddenly, it was all about the camel toe. I mean, here's the funny thing.
I'm actually speechless right now. I don't know what to say. I don't. But carry on. Sorry.
My
Sorry.
point was I just can't win. So I could technically wear a trash bag, and you'd be like, your legs are showing. Do you get what I mean? So I just don't care, you know. And then I thought, people are like, why don't you just delete it then? Well, what's the point of me fucking deleting it? It's already out there. If I delete it, someone else is gonna post it.
Phelps, yeah. I know the picture that we've taken a couple of photos, yeah, that have kind of been passed.
Turn off my comments every time I put up a picture with you. I have to turn off the comments.
The one, right? And I look at the picture now. It's the one where I'm standing behind you, and we kind of knew what we were doing with that to a certain degree. But when I look at the picture, I thought I don't remember being that kind of, yeah, this is like almost like this man, that kind of thing, because it wasn't like that. Obviously, genuinely wasn't like that. But when I'm looking at the picture, I'm thinking to myself, it does look like that. So cue the comments. Right, hold on.
Put the other one.
Can you hold on 1 second? That battery is going to die, so I'm just going to stop it, put the other battery in, and we're going to return. Just hold on 1 second. Just picking this back up. So we're talking about a couple of the pictures that we'd posted and kind of... And part of me thinks, I don't want to have to think, should I have to post a picture? I've known you for fucking 10 years. Should I have to worry about putting a picture up? Because either someone's going to go, oh, you're trying it on with Phelps, or Phelps is showing too much hair, and...
Hasn't that always been the storyline, though? Like, that's something we've never been able to avoid, and we're literally going on 10 years. It's always been the story. Always been the thought, it's like, just leave off already. Seriously. Like, that's got to be hard for you, like, dating, right? Like, that's got to be hard. You have a girlfriend, right?
Yeah, and like all my ex-girlfriends have hated you.
I know, and for what reason, though? Like, I know it's
Half of them have never met you.
But honestly,
No, but do you know what it is? If you're not kind of involved in the industry, and like past girlfriends of mine have kind of seen a picture or seen, I don't know, maybe, and you know what it is? They read comments as well, and it's like if they don't kind of know the whole industry situation, blah blah, I suppose you could end up thinking, well, there must be something going on there. But so a couple of my exes, yeah, they haven't liked you. They've actually like fucking dartboard arrows at you every night. But yeah, so I'm hoping like the new one's all right anyway.
yeah. Well, I mean, I would hope so, because I'm not going anywhere. We're friends for life. So at the end of the day, you and I have a close bond. We're great friends. We'll always be there for each other. I hope to see you happy. You hope to see me happy. And in real friendship, that's what you want for people. So I would hope that's the case. I mean, I'm going to invite you to my wedding one day. I'd hope to be invited to yours.
My wedding was yesterday and you weren't invited.
Where, Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I got married in Sri Lanka via Vegas. So you clearly, by some of your posts, you do have a new boyfriend, man friend. I don't know. Have you?
It's weird for me to even talk and say that, because I've been single for so long that I don't know how to really label things. Like, is it a relationship? Are we in? Is it love? Is it not love? Like, what is it? It's nice. It took me a long time to get over my ex-boyfriend, so it took me forever. So to be able to put myself in a position where I'm happily getting to know somebody and who makes great efforts to be with me, I can't complain.
You answered that like a politician. Do you have a boyfriend?
I guess so.
Woohoo!
I don't know. I call it dating. I think that's like... I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess.
It's good, of course. Yeah, good. Because you don't always declare, and you're very obviously private. Not secretive, you're just private, yeah.
I always say why. Because Eddie actually asked me, right, when we were all in Miami, and when I said yes, he went, "Are you joking?" And I go, "Oh my God, do I have to be joking?" And he's like, "Do you seriously? You have? Wow, you never." I'm like, "I know I never have a boyfriend, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, you know what it's like doing what we do." I think what it is with me is I try not to get myself too excited about something. And I think that's bad. But at the same time, I think it's a defense mechanism because the reality is I am a woman around a lot of men. And everyone starts off fine with that, don't they? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, it's different this time. But only time will tell.
Well, I sincerely wish you the best of luck, and hope it all works out well for you. And who knows, one day I can interview you and Phil, John, Brad.
Not gonna tell.
Keep that bit a mystery.
Yeah, no, I will, because you know why? I actually, like I was saying to a few people who work with DAZN, they were like, "Well, I don't get it. Why wouldn't you just tell us who it is?" And I go, because there's a difference between being private and being secretive. And maybe I just want to see what happens first, and I don't want everyone talking about it. Because people do talk about it. It's weird. You experienced it. You said that even people were asking you, and it got weird. It was just, it is what it is. It's just, I don't understand the interest, but I'm not one of those people that like to be all over Instagram and shit with things like that. I have an album full of me and my ex-boyfriend and whoever on my phones. Not anymore, but at the time I did. You get what I mean? Like, you keep your shit private.
Yeah, no, I back what you're saying. You do have to keep a little bit of privacy, not secrecy, because secrecy sounds like it's something sordid and like, oh yeah, but seedy and it's like a married dude or something.
We're both very much, available individuals. There's nothing it's nothing to be afraid of if it does happen to come out or we talk about it. It's not like that at all. That's just how I am. You know that. We know each other very well, and it takes a lot for me to even talk about certain things because it's just by nature how I am.
Well, Phelps, good luck to you. Lady, good luck to you. I hope it all works out well, and yeah. If you want to go on a little double dinner date one day,
We'll see. We'll see, Cougs. Let's see if he makes a cut. He's going to hate me.
Good. Yeah, so that's you. Have you got anything else you'd like to kind of add? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
So close you put that. It's like you almost hit my nose. Bam. I'm excited to be going back to England.
Fucking live in England anyway.
Yeah, but I haven't been there for over 2 months.
Oh my God! Haven't been there in 2 months. That's not terrible.
It is when you're away. Because remember, I've always been away more than I've been back with my family. And I've been very emotional about that. Very emotional. I needed time off. I had a fucking breakdown at the end of 2019.
Why? Do you want to expand on that, or do you want to talk about that?
No, it was just a very dark place for me at the time. Very dark. Very dark. I totally get it. I don't talk. You know what I said to Tyson? Because when Tyson was doing those signings and I went there to go do an interview with him, he asked me like how I was doing with it. And when I was telling him, I said, because he's like, "You've lost weight too." And I go, "Well, I've been in the gym nonstop because it's the only thing that keeps me mentally sane." But the reality is that, I was allowing like the online bullies to affect me at one point. They were like, "Oh, she's gaining weight. She looks terrible. She's had horrible plastic surgery." I'm like, I haven't even had plastic surgery. But, I am getting older. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I'm not going to look young forever. But it became about tearing me down. And I let it get to me because I knew I wasn't taking care of myself. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I was overworked. Didn't take enough time for myself. Clearly at the time didn't even have a relationship or anybody to have that balance with. Had nothing. It was just way too one-sided, and I needed some time away with my family. I just needed to tap out. It just got, I didn't get bad, like suicide bad, but it got bad as in like I was crying all the time. I was very unhappy. And yet I had no reason to be unhappy. It was just like my soul was unhappy. Because I'm blessed. I know I'm blessed. But at the same time, don't you ever feel that way sometimes where it's just an imbalance of some sort? You know, I read a quote once by Jim Carrey, and I'm not going to read it. I didn't memorize it verbatim, but he basically said, you know, depression is real. But if you're not getting enough sunlight, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not consuming positive material, if you're not working out, if you're not eating right, if you're not, you know, sleeping enough, he had all of like a list of things. And I think there must have been like 2 things I was doing out of 7 or 8 things that he listed. And I'm like, wow, it's really lopsided. Like I really need to take care of myself more. And now I feel a little bit better, you know. But I even told, that's why in my interview with Tyson, I thanked him because he was there to support. It was just encouraging words. Stay in the gym, Michelle. You know, like just keep at it and keep being positive. And it's a challenge, but that online shit is real. Social media can get really ugly at times. Like, I'm sure you experience it. Have you not ever, I know, and I can only speak for a woman, but have you not had moments where you're just like, it bothered you? Be honest.
It would bother anyone. I suppose it's not about getting used to it. I just think you learn to care less about it and not let it really affect your day, because I'd read loads of comments like someone saying, oh, that was good or this was good and blah blah, and then the prick that said, I don't know, he could say anything, and then I'll get on social media and then I'll start arguing with someone with like an egg as their face, with 95 numbers in their name, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? What?
When you break it down and you rationalize it, you know where it's coming from. They're unhappy. There must have been, anytime someone is mean, right? Someone's been mean to them. Hurt people hurt people. That's the reality of it. And there's a vast majority, they are hurt people. So they're going to take it out on what? People that they see doing something, they feel, why am I not doing that? Why can't I do that? Why can't I have that opportunity in life? But at the same time, you're only human. You know what I mean? I love to eat, and I fluctuate in weight. But should my interview, should that be the topic of conversation when I'm interviewing somebody? Should it be about, oh, she's gained weight? Oh, she looks terrible? Should that be, honestly, the topic of conversation? Why is it not about what I'm asking or what the actual interview is about? But it's about something else. So it's like people want to tear you down, make fun of you, think it's banter. It's banter until somebody dies. Then what? Do you know how many times I've clapped back? Because I have those moments. You know, you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you roll over, you read a message, and suddenly you're going to town on them, which you're entitled to do. But in those moments, you're like, oh no, I lost my train of thought. Anyways,
I love the way you could be talking about anything serious and then you could just break out into that hysterical laugh of yours.
No, but the reality is, Cougs, and this goes across the board, you know, it's just not cool. It's not cool, and you know, when you see people killing.
But they think it is cool. I think, who was that? You posted it. Kevin Hart was saying that it's like, it's not cool to be positive and support people anymore. It's cool to be negative and attack people. That's like, you know, that gets more traction. And it's like in certain videos we do, negative titles or negative content makes people watch more and it gets more traffic. And I think it's kind of the same thing. People are more interested in failure and downfall and negativity than they are. Do you know what I'm saying? No one wants to read about, oh, she got married, she had a baby, she's happy, she won the lottery. I don't give a shit about that.
It's just like people.
She lost all her money. No, he left her.
It's the same
They love all
thing.
that shit.
Yeah. It's the same thing for saying, like, you know, people love a good rumor, but they don't like the truth. You know? People love a rumor. But when the truth comes out, they still want to, you know, make their assumptions and be like, oh, that's not true. And it's like, bro, okay. But that's the reality of where we are today in our society. You know, it's unfortunate. You know, I saw that a presenter back in England has killed herself. My understanding, has a lot to do with how she was treated after an incident that occurred between her and her boyfriend, and it affected her. And the thing is, we don't know where she was when mentally, when that happened, and then the abuse just added to it. For me, that moment, it happened in Cancun for me. I had a breakdown. My videographer, Brandon, and I, we were literally packing up our equipment in the room, getting ready to go join the WBC at one of their dinners. And I made the mistake of reading comments, you know, under one of my videos. And I don't know what it was, but I broke down crying so hard that, like, I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was having a panic attack, like, could not get a hold of myself. And he literally, it's like he just put his arms around me, and I was just, like, shaking. And I just ended up going to bed after that. Woke up, felt okay. Clarissa Shields came up to me during breakfast. She was like, what happened? And I told her, and I love that girl. She goes to bat for me in the comment sections. She claps back for me. But it's not fair. It's not fair. All you're doing is going to work every day. I'm only here to go get y'all some interviews, you know? Whether or not you like me, and this shouldn't be the topic of conversation. Shouldn't slam somebody. I'm just going to work. Imagine you work for FedEx, you do deliveries, and every door you open, they're slagging you off. And then you gotta go to the next door. You don't know what you're gonna get. That would literally be like somebody working a 9-to-5 like that. Like, you have to deal with that sort of criticism, but they don't.
The weird thing is, and I say it for you more so than myself. Like, I'm not saying that because I do. I'm like, sometimes will bite at the silliest things, and I'm learning not to do that, and that's fine. But within the industry, like, if you were to upload your content and not read any of the feedback, positive or negative, you'd live the life of Riley. You would. You would literally go and film what you need to do, upload it, and then never look at anything. Your life's fine. But then it doesn't work like that, because the people watching it, obviously they're entitled to a certain degree their opinion. But their opinion and abuse are like chalk and cheese. It's not.
The best part is when you say something to them, and then they come back and be like, oh, it's just banter. But, like, it wasn't banter. Like, they were like, oh, this ugly slag. Please explain to me where the banter is in that. It's not like a joke. Like, a joke is different than a comment. Do you get what I mean? Like, he made a statement. That's not a joke. But then when you say something about, oh, it's just a joke, learn to take a joke. That's the best one. Learn to take a joke. You don't understand English banter.
Did you get called an ugly slag?
Yeah, of course.
They half know you then. You don't know which half. You don't know which half I'm talking about, do you? Banter. No, I just think in general, and I think it's worse. Get up in the morning, and then your first train of thought is, let me attack a woman. And I know it's like, I'm not trying to be one rule for one and one rule for the other, but when you're brought up a certain way, to speak to women a certain way, to treat women a certain way as a man, and then that maybe you're not. Hold on, what's happened there? Oh, where does that go? I think that's like the early, as a man, that's what. It doesn't happen with everyone, but I was taught to, like I said, talk to women a certain way and behave, and not to say things in front of women and talk a certain way, etc., etc.
People claim that I ask for it.
In what way? Why the way you dress or what?
I mean, I like to think I dress quite conservatively for the most part. So what? I'm a woman. I have breasts. Am I supposed to act like I don't have them? And I'm not putting them out there like I could. But it's part of like my body. You know what I mean? It's like having a nose. It's like having hands. You can't completely conceal it. It is what it is, isn't it? And there are going to be some outfits that I wear that might be, you know, oh, there's a little bit here and there. Even now, I'm sitting down in the top, you know, pull it up, whatever. But it's not like I'm egging it on.
Hey, look at me. I know.
I mean, to be honest with you, I could really egg it if I wanted to, and I don't. But I could. But I don't. The only thing people are offended by is my personal Instagram account. They don't fucking follow me. Behind the Gloves has got its own page. This isn't boxing. Why is it just you and your girlfriends or this and that? I'm like, bro, really? Like, you don't have to come by. Nobody asked you to knock at my door.
Yeah, fuck off.
It is what it is. But anyways, my whole point back to what we originally were talking about is, of course, you can't control how people are going to feel about you. I just don't see the humor in tearing people down when they've done absolutely nothing wrong. I don't understand how people can dislike someone they don't even know. You know? But it is what it is. It is what it is. And we just adapt, don't we? We just keep going.
Just keep going. I can't wait for the comment section in this video.
Gold.
Maybe we should do another video on the comments of this video. I think that would be good.
We should review the comments on this video.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We're here for another like 4 or 5 days. So at some point, we'll put this video out tomorrow, which is Wednesday, or today, Wednesday, and then we'll give it a couple of days. But I don't know if that's a good idea or not, because now it's going to entice people to go with whatever. But just,
But, you know, maybe they have a question for us and they want to leave their real name. You know, leave the question with the real name at the end. City where you're from. We give you a shout out. Give you a shout out. It doesn't have to. We don't have to respond to all the negative. We can respond to just the positives. Let's encourage positivity. We're only going to respond to the positive ones.
all right, let's do it. Let's do it in, we'll give it 48 hours.
48 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I going to meet your girlfriend sometime? I'm coming back to England in next week.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. Do you actually want to meet her?
Yeah, of course. I've been trying to meet the ones in the past and it never happened.
All right.
Now I know
All right, chill out. Yeah, they never liked you. Yeah.
Clearly, I'm like the face on the dartboard, according to you.
There was one in particular that really fucking hated
Oh my
you.
God, she hated me. I do not understand.
No, there's one actually who wasn't my girlfriend that hated you. But anyway, people just don't like you. Like, I don't know. No, it's to do with me. I'm saying like everyone away from, yeah. That fucking Phelps.
Why do you think that is, though? Do you think I'm like overly flirty or anything?
No, I don't think it's not like that.
No. Do you know what? I remember when we were on tour with Tyson, all the guys were like, you know, Phelps, like, we know you get ready for the cameras, but like when it's just hanging out, you're literally one of the lads. And I'm like, that's just how I am. I'm actually, as girly as I may appear, I'm like a tomboy. It's not like that at all. So
in case she starts thinking that she wants to join the I Hate Michelle Phelps fan club, which is like strong to the, it's got like 9 members so far. 9,000. Joke, banter. Yeah, you can meet her. If you're in London, we'll do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home to Manchester for.
Do you want to see a picture of her?
Yeah.
I'm not going to obviously show this, like, woo!
Hey, let me show you my albums too.
Hold that. Let me show you. You rate, because she's a rocket. Hold on.
Are you punching?
Yeah.
Cougs. You're punching, mate.
Hell yeah.
You're punching.
Yeah.
She's got nice legs. She's got nice legs.
No, she's assault.
No, she's pretty. Let me see. I won't swipe left or right because I'd be terrified. Just okay. Well, sometimes I don't know what you got in your albums. Yeah, she's pretty. Oh, she's really pretty. And she's sexy in that one. The one in the black.
No.
Anyways.
Your turn.
No.
Michelle Phelps, we've done about 45 minutes.
You know what? The last time we did an interview like this, it was just like chilling and talking. I think we lasted about a good hour. And I said at the very end, if you got to the very end of this, to shout us out that you actually got to the end of this.
What could the hashtag be?
I don't know. I don't know.
Think of something they can hashtag to say they can then you'll know if they've watched to the end.
I'm terrible with this sort of things, Cougs. I'm not the creative one. Hashtag I made it.
Hashtag I made it. Literally simple. And yeah.
If you got to the end of this, then respect.
100% respect. Right, Michelle Phelps, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. I've actually found some of this quite interesting myself, actually, to talk about it, because it's not like loads of people you can talk about this stuff with at home. So no one really gets it, which is not their fault. It's just, unless you do like what we're doing, which we're massively fortunate to be doing and very grateful.
Do you know, Cougs, I will say this before we end. I'm really proud of you. Because I remember a conversation where you and I were sat in Carson, California, and there was the contemplation of whether or not you wanted to continue to do this, because it was right before the channel really broke. I don't even know what your subs were. I don't even know if you were 100,000 yet at that point. But I remember you know, we both were like, what's the real end game here? Like, what are we doing? Because at the time, a lot of people, even still so in some cases, in the field that we're in, we're sometimes overlooked for what we do bring to this sport and the audience we bring. But you continued forward, and I'm happy for you. So congratulations.
Just picking this back up, you were saying how basically IFL TV is the best channel in the world. BTG sucks.
Hold up, mate. Hold up. All right. I'm proud of myself, too.
Be proud of yourself, because you're still doing it. 10 years. We're 10 years this year. You are what?
8.5 right now. 8.5.
Similar.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens. But yeah, thank you for your words, Michelle. And would you call me?
Can I still call you Cookie? You have a girlfriend. Is that off limits?
Call me what the fuck you want. That matter, does it?
It's always been Coogie Bear. So, just saying.
Can I just refer to you as the ugly slag now? Oh, come on. Michelle. She's back. See, that was banter. Come on.
I know. I'm just joking. Look at this. Can we just get the blazer? Quick, Claudia Lugli. Okay, just doing a little shout.
All right, you can chat whoever you want. Thank you very much for your time, and yeah, we look forward to the press conference later on today, because by the time this goes out, it's today.
All right, well, thanks for doing the interview, Cougs.
Cheers, me old mucker, and speak to you soon.
Yep. Bye-bye, fans.
What was that?
Bye-bye, fans.
No, come on, do it properly.
You do it. You're the one who does it best.
Bye-bye, fans!
There you go.
There we go. We're out.
Gold Star Promotions is proud to present Floyd Money Mayweather. The man himself is coming to the UK for his UK tour, February and March 2020. For all info and tickets, goldstarpromotions.co.uk.